Okay, hi folks. Welcome to Me Made May Day 25. Sorry, I was caught unprepared there. There's no day 24 if you're looking for it. I skipped it. It's beautiful sunny day. No, it was a beautiful stormy day. It was an intensely stormy day. It's still really, really rainy and windy today. But yesterday I was just... Am I in a weird angle? Maybe. I don't know. Yesterday I just didn't feel like it. And I mean, there seems to be a recurring theme on Sundays. Perhaps I just need to know that I won't be doing videos on Sundays. Or if I do, because I know Sundays are an incredibly popular day on YouTube, I will instead pre-record them. Talking about videos, I am kind of running out of ideas. This is the last week of Me Made May. So I've got, 7 videos to go: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What do you want to see? Oh, I haven't done an introduction. Wow, whole day off and I'm rusty. Hi, I'm Simone. This is my channel Goblin Fruit, named after my brand Goblin Fruit, where I also do commission work for businesses as well. So sample making, pattern making, sourcing, design consultation, and branding consultation, that sort of stuff. I do that sort of stuff, and I also have my own brand, which I'm starting back up again, working on that at the moment. In the meantime, we're clearing some old ranges. If that's the sort of thing that you're interested in, that's on the Goblin Fruit website, and I'll link it below. Here though, I'm just challenging myself to talk about my me-made outfits every day, in the hope, I've just probably only in the last couple of years started using commercially available patterns, because I'm a pattern maker. I normally make all my patterns, so it's been kind of interesting and more sort of learning about what sort of things I want to wear. So therefore, when I make new things for the range, I can hopefully make things that other people want to wear as well. Because I think sort of a little bit caught in this fantasy fashion design loop of, doing collections and catwalk shows and things and editorial photos and all of that kind of stuff, but ended up making a lot of things that weren't particularly wearable. So we're going backwards now, back to more wearable things. But so yes, Monday, Me Made May, day 25. This is my Me Made outfit. So the pants you've seen before, these are the ones that I've still got to work on the pattern. This is the first run of doing this pattern that I have actually drafted myself. These are the back seam 3/4 stretch knit. I realised I've got the camera angled up really high today. There we go. You can see them. But look, you can see my top boxes. My pretty gold boxes. Anyway. Yeah. So, this pattern still needs a little bit of work before I think about doing anything else with it. But they're good for wearing around the house in this lockdown life, because they're stretchy and comfy and all those good things. Now the jumper, the cardigan is new. I was talking about making this the other day, and I spent most of yesterday making it. In fact, this is probably one of the slowest makes I've done in a long time. I don't know why I felt like I was just sewing really, really slowly. Like nothing was going fast. And I did have a couple of siders, and I did sit and watch the Kittenish Behaviour live cast with Xian. And I didn't say anything while I was on there because I was concentrating on making this cardigan. The thing that I'm pausing over and not wanting to admit is that I'd also had a couple of ciders. And I think that might have slowed me down a little bit. I was desperate not to make a mistake or to get online and start saying something stupid. So I just very, very slowly made myself a cardigan. So this is, seriously, I love it. Look at it. Look at those sleeves. Look. Okay, let's talk through this today. This is today's video. If you have any ideas of things you want me to talk about in future videos, I'm going to do a little walk through the studio when I get it finished. Like, I'm still moving fabrics in from the old studio cupboards. I don't know if they're going to fit in here. That's why it's taking so long. I'm squeezing everything in. But after that, then I'll do a little studio walkthrough. So hopefully that'll happen this week. And I'll do, this is all of the wardrobe pieces that I wore this month, kind of a look through, capsule wardrobe, what worked, what didn't work, kind of a video. I think I had another idea as well. Maybe not. Anyway, if you've got ideas, that's lots of gaps left to fill to make me a week. Right. So this top, I am both a chronic pattern repeater and pattern hacker. Like, I can't help myself. Once I found a pattern that I like, I'm just obsessed with it. And like, I already have thought of 2 other ways I want to make this cardigan, and this is actually a hack of a top that I've already made 3 times. I can't help it. Okay, so it's this one. You've probably already seen this month 3 versions of this view, the stripy view. But this is my new hack of this view, which obviously it's a blouse. It's a woven blouse, and I've made a knit cardigan. So what did I do to make this a cardigan? So this has got a back button placket. Mostly what I did was move that to the front. That's most of what I did. And that's really it. Shortened it, put a band on it, put a neckband on it. But let's go through that in a little bit more detail. So the back piece where you put the button placket on normally does have, this is my trace of, but it does have a centre back line. So it's got a fold line where you would fold back your placket to there, right? But it's also got a centre back line, so that's the centre back. So when I put the back piece on, I just laid that against the fold, the centre back line. So that's your back piece. I still did the little dart. All of these furious lines here are the fact that I did take, again, 2 centimetres off the top of the shoulder. I need to do that a lot with patterns, and commercial patterns anyway. And I sort of figure that I'm actually fairly broad-shouldered. So because this is a 1940s pattern, it's probably made for shoulder pads, which is probably the problem. Even though it doesn't mention shoulder pads in the thing. Does it? Oh, actually, maybe it does, and I've just ignored it this whole time. Yes, it does. That's why I have to take a bit off there, because it's supposed to have shoulder pads in. I do not put shoulder pads in. Alright, because, yes, as I said, I think I'm fairly broad-shouldered as it is. Right, so yeah, and it does have little darts. I kept the little darts just on the top, even though I was doing it in a knit. I don't know, I found them successful before, so I just kept with it. Right, what else did I then do? Okay, so then I traced off what would have been the interfacing for the button placket. But instead, when I cut out the front piece, I then laid that piece next to it. And so that acted as a new button placket on the front, and just cut that out. Yeah, easy. And so that's the new button place. Sorry, my doggy's snotting down. That's not a noise I'm making. I mentioned it before. She does have some kind of tumour, and that's what makes her do that. So yeah, that's the placket on the inside. I mean, there's some finishing details that I'd like to change on if I did another one. But sometimes when you're busy changing something so heavily, it can be really hard to work out what finishings are necessary. Or for me anyway. I mean, commercial patterns don't tell you to do your finishings. Like, they give you all these instructions, but... Or maybe I'm just... Look, let's be honest, I don't read the instructions very well. I glaze over them. Yeah. Put the front on, put the back on, put the arms on, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I cut it probably... Now, I'll show you. Oh, look, I'm going to angle this down a bit. This is way too high. Yeah, that's better. Right. So when I show you this, it is longer than I want. I folded it up. It's actually that long. Which is, I mean, you know, it's fine, but it's just not my favourite length, just right across that widest, or getting to the widest is there, but getting to the wider part of my hips, I prefer something that sits, because I wear a lot of high-waisted bottoms as well, so that's a better length for me. And yeah, I'll go through things I'd change. So number one is, on the length, I'll tell you what I did with the pattern first, and then I'll tell you what I would change. So I then cut the length at about 5 centimeters longer than the waistline. And then, I'm sorry, I don't have the measurements for what I did the band at, because I just used the width of the fabric that was left from 1 meter of fabric. So I made the whole cardigan with 1 meter of fabric, which I'm pretty happy with. Makes it fairly economical, even with these big sleeves. Beautiful sleeves. So yeah, and this doesn't have side seams on the band. It's just got one down the center back. I think it is just probably my waist measurement less, maybe about 2 inches, so that it's got negative ease, so that it grabs a bit more, and then this can be a bit fuller. On the sleeves, this is the length. I didn't change any length on the sleeve, so that's the length that come out in the pattern. I'm 5'6", not particularly long in the arms, so they're pretty much perfect length for me. I think anybody taller than me would definitely have to lengthen them. They're not long. Okay, on the band, I did cut the band from the pattern, but I ended up making it a little bit narrower. I think I took about 3 to 4 centimeters off this length, not that one, this length. And then I've put elastic inside. It's this elastic. I just use this because somehow I ended up with this massive roll of 40 meters, and it doesn't work for the lingerie work that I buy these sorts of things for. It's too soft and it kind of tends to degrade very quickly under high tension. This isn't a high tension kind of a thing. So yeah, it's just like a ribbed. It's actually really, really nice, like soft to wear. It doesn't really grab at you. It's that word I'm looking for again. Why can I never remember it? Recession, retention, retraction, recovery. It's recovery. And okay, the trick that I tried to learn to remember it is there used to be a show in the early noughties on the ABC in the morning, like a music show called Recovery. It was called Recovery, wasn't it? Yeah. As in, like, it's Saturday morning or Sunday morning and this is your Friday night recovery or Saturday night recovery or both, whatever. So anyway, it's not got massive recovery. It doesn't pull back in when it's very, very hard when it's stretched out. So when I do this, it's quite comfortable. And I push my sleeves up all the time. So I'm really happy with that solution. It doesn't feel too tight on my arms, even though it sits quite narrow then. It doesn't feel too tight when I do that. And I'm probably going to be doing that most of the time because I don't like things in the way when I'm working. So yeah, really very, very happy with, these sleeves might get moved on to various other projects. I think they're great. I did, instead of setting them in, which you would normally do with a woven, which I try to get away without doing at all costs, I laid them in flat. So I did the shoulder seams, then put the sleeves on, then did the inside of the sleeve and up through the side seam. And yeah, I did gathered in the knit before putting it in. I didn't stretch the knit to make the gather. That would not have worked. I've gathered it in first and then overlocked it down. There's clear elastic in the shoulders and in the neckband. There is double-sided interfacing tape. Do I have it here? This stuff from Birch. Save a stitch. See that? And yeah, this stuff, which I think, is it made for stretch? Anyway, it works really well with stretch. It's expensive though. Join fabrics without stitching, hem without sewing, fusible, miracle, web, washable and dry cleanable. Bonds hems without sewing. I still sewed it down. I think it's quite handy, particularly a button placket should have some reinforcing in it, like interfacing. I don't always use interfacing. Sometimes I just want something to sit really, really soft. But for this, doing buttonholes on a knit, I thought it was really necessary, and also just holding the buttons on so that they don't fall through the knit. So yeah, both sides have got the tape in there. I didn't, because I didn't think about it as I was doing it, put the tape in these bottom bits, in the band on the bottom. And I should have. And I'm not particularly happy with this band anyway. If there was matching ribbing available, God, that would be amazing. I mean, Lush Fabrics, if you're watching, matching ribbings would be amazing. Because they're so hard to get. And then to colour coordinate with something that you bought online as well, next to impossible. Yeah, so I would have preferred to have that in there. Okay, so we're on to things that I would change doing it again. I would definitely make this shorter. I think I would make it maybe that much shorter, so it was right up there. And even maybe make this band a little bit narrower. So I think that gives a really more kind of retro-y kind of look. And then even do some little gathers under here so that it gathered in under the bust into this band. And then maybe 3 little buttons on this band. I would probably consider it having another button. So these are a little bit too far spaced for my liking. The buttons I got, I think, from Textile Traders before they closed. And yeah, the fabric is Lush Fabrics. It's the Robin sweater knit in burgundy. Okay, I totally intended and then completely forgot to put a ribbon sort of facing through the inside as well. I have a ready-to-wear cardigan that has that, and I really, really like the finish, but they use really cheap satin ribbon and it kind of biodegraded very quickly. But I have some really pretty rayon grosgrain, which I totally intended on using, which if I finished that along over that overlocked edge before I sewed it in, I think that would look really pretty, and it probably would have meant that I'd would have worn it open more than I do. And I maybe would have considered using it as a binding over that edge as well, instead of putting the clear elastic in on the neckband. Okay, I didn't tell you how I did the neckband. I measured the neck opening, as long as it was, without the fold over facing, so just to the edge of that. And then I cut a rectangle that was 15% less than that length, and it folds over. And then so you got your rectangle. I didn't make a pattern piece, I just cut it freehand. Sorry, otherwise I'll show you. So a rectangle, which folds over, and then I cut up a curve on the open edge, not the folded edge. So the folded edge comes down, but it's actually because this part of the rectangle is curved up. So it curves down into there. And that's it. And yeah, there's clear elastic in there because I just didn't want it to lose its shape. It probably is a little bit smaller than most people would like. I mean, I've got a really high neck on underneath it as well. So I've got my bodysuit, one of my samples underneath. But yeah, the neckline on that shirt is very small, which I like. I like a very small neck opening. As much as I think it probably doesn't flatter me, I don't care. I still like it. Yeah, so if you wanted to make it and like having something right here bothers you, I'd probably just cut that just a little bit lower, which is a really easy change to do. What else? I mean, the 2 rows placement, that was totally by accident, but I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, if I'd done it on purpose, it probably might have been a little bit more even, but it was just pattern Tetris how I was going to get this pattern out of 1 meter. So pretty happy with that. What else would I change inside of that? Just shortening it. Yeah, that's it really. So yeah, that's my Simplicity, serious Simplicity 8736 1940s vintage blouse into a cardigan hack. Sorry, I've got this real feeling I've been dribbling along there. I hope that was interesting. Yeah, let me know if like that was interesting. I just did this because, I mean, I don't have a short fitted cardigan pattern. I've noticed that it's been super popular in a lot of the, like, the patterns that are available to have big, like, waterfall, drapey, or those long, boxy type cardigans. And I like a cropped, fitted cardigan. So yeah, that's why I ended up doing that. But yeah, the length and the button placement could have been better. But as I said, I was probably 3 or 4 siders in by that point, so I'm pretty happy I finished it. Yay! Alright, let me know if there's anything else that you'd like me to talk about for the rest of Me Made May. Hopefully I'll keep doing some videos, but I won't be vlogging every day. It does seem to take a surprisingly large amount of time. And I will start working on video editing. I might do some of that in the future, rather than these hasty get-go-y kind of setups. I really feel there was something else that I wanted to say. But yeah, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend.